All right, welcome back to another episode of Atomic Diecast, and today we're going to review a classic. This is actually a 2026 mainline, but it is a casting that has been around since the 70s, and it is the Rodger Dodger. And the Rodger Dodger is a modified 70 Dodge Challenger with a big blown V8 poking out of the hood, and it's a number of variations that was done on the bifocal design, and believe it or not, it has become one of the most popular Hot Wheels cars ever made, right up there with Twin Mill and the Bone Shaker and other ones that have been voted on by the Hot Wheels community. And the Rodger Dodger, again, it came out in 1974. It was a 1973 casting, and it was based off of a car called the Show-Off from that very same period. And the Show-Off was essentially the same car. It was a 70 Challenger. It had a long snout. It had an open hood, which I believe it had two motors inside, and the motors were formed from the metal base. Aside from that, the contour of the car was the same. The only difference is the Rodger Dodger had this big blown V8 motor sticking up through the hood. And on some models, if you go far enough back, you can actually see the original name Show-Off partially bleeding through the deletion plate on the metal base that they cast it from. And of course, all these cars back then, early 70s, they were metal bases. They weren't using plastic. I don't think the plastic came in until the late 70s or early 80s. So quite a bit of history with this car. They ran the original tooling from 1974 to 1979. It would be next to impossible, well, I shouldn't say impossible, it'd be very hard for me to run down all the variations that they did. The one that a lot of people want is a plum-colored Rodger Dodger that came out in 74. The other one that was very, very common for that era was a gold, metallic gold Rodger Dodger. I have that one in my collection from the late 70s. I got it as a kid, and it was definitely one of my favorites because of, again, the big motor sticking up through the hood. So they ran the original model from 74 to 79. Then they did nothing with it until 1998, and it was retooled in 98. And that second retooling ran from 98 to 2013. They didn't change a lot with the car. The thing that they did is they switched from a Hong Kong produced metal base to a Thailand plastic base, and the plastic base formed everything from the motor down. The original Rodger Dodger, the motor was all metal because it was infused, or I should say it was part of the one-piece metal base. Hot Wheels retooled it again in 2015. I'm really glad they brought it back. Same thing, plastic base. The motor was formed from the interior this time. And what was unique about this one was the retooling in 2015 is that instead of having the exhaust pipe sticking up through the hood on each side of the engine bank, they had them protrude from underneath the front quarter panels. And it's rare for me to like a retooling more than the original, but I actually like the zoomy pipe sticking out the side more. I think it adds to the car. When they were sticking up through the hood, you could see them, but they kind of got lost in the visual of the blower and the hood scoop and everything, and I just think this looks a lot cleaner. So this car came out in 2000, I should say this version came out in 2015. They've done multiple iterations of it since then. This one is a 2026 mainline. I love the color combination on this. This aqua blue with the yellow and white accenting is really cool. The chrome interior, is again a standout thing. It pairs well with the color combination. They almost have to use a chrome interior with this one because the motor and the exhaust pipes are formed from the interior section of the car, and not the black metal base, or I should say plastic base. And so to make the motor chrome, the interior is going to be chrome too. They're not going to do that as a two-piece. The tampoing is really cleanly applied on this. You can tell that there are no headlight or taillight details. We really only got two side tampoing on this with the sides. The front grille and lights are part of the black plastic base. The rear section, again, the taillights are formed from the base itself. Overall, I think it works well. You've got chrome, you've got black, you've got this beautiful aqua paint, which on this casting was very well applied. Again, for a mainline being a dollar car, there's no imperfections that I could find. It's slightly metallic, no paint bubbles, no chips, nothing along those lines. And the tampones are very, very clean. There are no skip marks or thin spots. Really well done. So I'm very happy with this one. Once I took it out of the blister, I was quite pleased. There are 5 SP wheels on this one. There's some rake to the car. Clearly the back tires are a little bit bigger than the fronts, and the rear suspension sits up higher. Classic 1970s look of a muscle car. This is technically a fantasy car because it's not perfectly in line with what a Challenger looked like from 1970, but it takes cues from that, and so for that reason they said it was based on the 70 Challenger. The other thing I should mention is Hot Wheels in 2019 brought out a Rodger Dodger 2.0. It was a futuristic car. It had disc wheels on it. It had 2 big electric engines in it. Wasn't a huge fan of that one. I've got a few. It just is way too space age looking for my taste, but if you're into futuristic cars, that would be one you might want to check out. And I did weigh this casting. It came in at 36 grams. Pretty heavy, actually, for a plastic-based vehicle. I guess maybe the big motor added a few grams. But anyways, that's about it. We're going to do a roll test next and see how this one does. Okay, time for my favorite part. The Rodger Dodger's wheels are being spun, broken in. And as usual, we're going to give it 3 tries to get down the strip. Here goes number 1. Whoop, that wasn't good. Wow, okay. We got a roller here. This one went to almost 4. All right, almost 4 again. Again, I consider this midpoint to be what it takes to get to 4. Whoa, okay. That was surprising. I didn't expect that to go. Maybe the wheels broke in more on that one than the previous ones. Let's see. Now, I think the one was an anomaly. Maybe I pushed it a little bit. All right, so we're doing more than 3. Wow, okay, so it just made it off the track. So I didn't push that one. I might have maybe, when I let go, gave it a little pressure to the car, but that last one I certainly didn't. So I'm going to average this one as a 4 and say it's a really, really strong roller. I'm impressed with it. I love the classic Rodger Dodger casting, and as with a lot of the cars I've been doing of late, if you can find this one, I do recommend it. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.